Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome once again to Quick Shot Reviews. I'm your host Luke and you are the Cheap Shot Nation. Today we're going to be looking at one of the films that keeps coming up on many lists of the best films that involve found footage. It's something called the Vatican Tapes, and I found this on Amazon Prime. It was free. It was brought out in 2015 and directed by Mark Neveldine. Why don't you join me to find out my thoughts on this film? So the premise of the Vatican Tapes is thus: a priest and two Vatican exorcists must do battle with an ancient satanic evil force to save the soul of a young woman. Basic premise of an exorcism movie. It's the same across the board. It doesn't matter which exorcism movie you look at. The ones where they're battling against the satanic force which involves a young lady are usually the best ones. This is not one of them. You've got the basic premise. It's difficult to run with it. There were some good ideas, but ultimately it fell down to CGI and bad storytelling, and I'm not sure why this film ended up on so many lists. Like I say, it was there on Amazon Prime, so I watched it and I was utterly bored. And we're talking about an exorcism movie here, usually pretty good. Exorcism of Emily Rose, Possession, all those kind of things. They all had their own unique take on the old story of an exorcism, and this one did, but it's been done many times before. The unique selling point here would be the fact that there's a crow involved, obviously a symbol of ancient evil forces, all the way back to the Vikings, but it just doesn't do it well. It just does not do it well. I had my hopes were sky high, like I say, after seeing it on lists. Reputable YouTubers telling us how great this found footage film is, but my question is, where's the found footage? Because there was a very little bit at the beginning, there's a minimal bit at the end. They even set up a camera, but it's all shot like it's in Hollywood. What I like in my found footage movies is not too much shaky cam, but there's definitely got to be shaky cam. There's definitely got to be black and white, for example. I want to know that I'm watching tapes. If a film is called The Vatican Tapes, I want to be watching the tapes. I want to be watching the footage. You can mingle that in with the other stuff, that's fine, I don't mind that, but I want to be watching the footage. That is the point of a found footage movie. Of course, one of the best, if not the very best, the one that started most of it in the mainstream was Blair Witch. Of course, there were a couple of found footage movies before that. The Last Broadcast, for example, came out very similar time, but the Blair Witch did do everything it could in the advertising stakes. You know, it used a very young internet and put all the lore behind it. We know the lore behind this. There was some good biblical references, there was some good biblical moments. I do like those kind of things, but yeah, just some of the ideas untried, untested, but film after film after film, it's been done. But the film remains to be boring, and if you're going to make a boring exorcism movie, then it's not going to be great. What's good? So let's be positive here. What is good about this film? The ending is very simple. It's very different, and it puts all of it into perspective to some extent. And it has a different ending to most exorcism movies. It doesn't save the film. If the best part of the film is the ending, you need something to build that up. You know, lots of films have a very, very good ending. Very good ending. Ghostbusters, you know, all sorts of different films. You know, The Exorcist, even, going back to that, it had an incredible ending, but it built the tension, it built it slowly, and you knew what you was dealing with. This one does not. It goes straight into it. We've got no context behind her not wanting to go to hospital. We've got no context behind the priest that hangs around outside the hospital, also played by the man who played Tuco. Can't think of his name at the moment, but you know, he was cool. He was a cool addition. It's just not unique, it's uninteresting, and it's a film that does things by the numbers. That's it. Usually that's not a bad thing, but in this case I can't get behind it. The camera cuts. There's no background to the main character, no backstory. It's just a single dad versus the boyfriend, and there's no reason why those two should be head to head. I mean, there really is nothing here. And my own thoughts, like I say, some good things in there, but they were too afraid to explore them. They were too afraid to be different. They were trying to be different. They didn't pull the trigger on it, and ultimately that is this film's downfall. A few things need to be fixed in order to make it even watchable. Like I say, the biblical references are really good, and I feel like some of the scenes and some of the biblical references have just been in there to add shock value, and that's pretty much it for this one. It's not a good film. Don't watch it. The Vatican Tapes, apart from the beginning, you won't see any footage from found footage. You know, there's a whole thing about the Vatican Tapes. They keep all these tapes in a library at the Vatican. Even the word Vatican means snake. You know, chamber of snakes, or whatever it is. And it's just not good. I really had high hopes for this one. I really wanted to come on here and say, go watch it, but I can't. So my rating for this one, The Vatican Tapes, is avoid it with all your might. Even films like The Ice Cream Man and, you know, The Chopping Mall, they had character. Problem with modern films is there's very few that have character. They're just sort of going by the numbers, and they're happy to float along on things that other people have built. And I just want a film, not necessarily even a horror film, because that is my genre, that is what I love watching. Just a film to come with something new. You know, James Cameron came out with Tenet. It was supposed to be something new, but ultimately it just ended up being every other film that he's done. Was it James Cameron? Christopher Nolan. That's the one. But yeah, just the same as everything else, really. Yeah, not good. I'm going to stop talking about this now. I'm going to say bye-bye. Thank you for watching. You are the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host Luke, and I'll see you next time on Quick Shot Reviews. Goodbye.